Okay, a good friend of mine reached out and he wanted some advice on a situation that he had in his shop. The situation was the local big name shop had taken a car in, had looked at the car, told the client it needed timing chains, but explained to the client, hey, we're a couple weeks out for a job like that, we wouldn't be able to do it. The service advisor at this big shop reached out to my friend and said, hey, would you be interested in taking this on? He said, sure. Called the man, spoke to the man, said, hey, do you want me to do some testing, verify that's what's going on, and then get into it? And the guy said, no, I don't want any testing. We know what's wrong with it. I just want an estimate for fixing it. So he gives him the estimate. Guy approves the estimate. He orders the parts, supplies, all that stuff. The wrecker shows up, brings the vehicle right into the shop, pulls it right into a bay, parks it. He takes it apart. When he's taking it apart, he notes, hey, it's in time. Yeah, the chain must be stretched a little bit. The tensioner's pushed out just a touch, but it's in time. He does the chain job. He puts the vehicle back together. Guess what? The vehicle won't start. So he hits it with a little bit of starting fluid and the vehicle fires right up. Now, a couple things here. You know, obviously, he found out that the vehicle was out of gas, right? That's what the ultimate cause was. But a couple things here. For starters, from my perspective, I never take a job on without doing the testing myself. No matter how great a friend is, no matter how great the other shop is, I'm responsible for that testing. I'm responsible for the outcome of the job. So I have a responsibility to do the testing that needs to be done so I can make sure I'm doing what's best for my client and I'm providing them all the information that they need. And so I'm not stuck holding the basket, if that makes sense. Number two, I think the starting fluid thing could be problematic. I've had some interesting scenarios. I had a Dodge pickup one time. For those of you who don't know, some of the Dodge pickups had grid heaters instead of glow plugs. And I had a Dodge pickup come in that the client had tried to start a number of times with starting fluid and had filled it full and then hit the key and the grid heater came on and there were pieces of the intake horn through the hood. So a lot of scenarios with starting fluid, I tend to not use it. So I'm going to be the guy checking fuel pressure and all the stuff I can first. I'm not throwing shade, okay? Don't get me wrong. But in this scenario, I would have gone through my testing anyway. Now, I typically ask for any type of documentation from the other shop so I can look and see what they've done. If I were to be someone who would take a job like this on without looking at the testing or doing the testing myself, I would definitely want that paperwork to be able to see what they had done, see what tests were done, what documentation was done. I catch a lot of flack in the groups because I put so much work into our documentation. The reason for that is if any of you were to get a job that came from us, I would want you to be able to pick up right where I left off. If I croak tomorrow and I was on that job, I want whoever gets that job next to be able to look at it and understand, here's what we were doing, here's why we were doing it, here's where we were at in the process, okay? So I'm gonna get that information from the shop. And if, again, big if I had decided, hey, I'm not gonna do testing, I would at least make sure beyond a shadow of a doubt the testing was logical. It's the pathway I would have followed. They had pictures, videos, test results, that kind of thing in it. Now, if I get into a car and I have done my initial testing, let's say that I come up with a conclusion. Evidently in this case, they had a 0016, and so they called it timing faults. If I come up with that conclusion and I start tearing this thing down and I realize it's in time, I'm gonna be stopping and saying, hang on just a minute. I better not go any further. I better take some time to figure this out, right? If I'm in this person's shoes, right? Like I'm gonna have a hard time being in this person's shoes because I'm gonna do my own testing. I'm probably not gonna get caught here. I don't mean that in a place of arrogance, not being disrespectful at all. He's a friend of mine. I'm not saying anything bad. But if I was in his shoes, I'm going to stop right when I find out it's in time, and I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call the other shop and say, hey, I know y'all said this had timing problems. Can you tell me what's going on with it? Because I just found out it's in time. I'm not going to throw another shop under the bus. There are times other shops need to be thrown under the bus. Don't get me wrong. Doing something that's unethical, immoral, something that could get somebody hurt. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But in this case, they're friends of his. They clearly did not mean to cause harm. They seem like really good people. They seem like stand-up people. And chances are they've got a tech in the bay doing something they don't know is happening, okay? So I believe in giving them a chance to figure out kind of what went wrong and then stand up and help the client. But that's really hard to do if I've already changed the timing chains, right? I can't go to the other shop and say, hey, pay me for the timing chains. It was in time when I took it apart, and that turned out not to be the problem. That's kind of my fault at that point. Now, there's plenty of you who are going to say, yeah, but the owner of the car said, I don't want to do any testing, just go ahead and do it. Here's what I'll say to that. I'm the professional. I work with automobiles 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day, right? Like, that's my job. That's what I do. I am the professional, and I know if it needs to be tested or not. I know what my protocol in the shop is. And so I can't break my protocol. I can't break my process just because Mr. Client doesn't want this or doesn't want that, because Mr. Client's not the professional, okay? Now, if I present him with all the options, all the information, all of the data, and Mr. Client says, I want to do this with my car, it is his car, and I will do as he asks. Obviously, I'm going to document it. I'm not doing anything that, like, I've had people ask for compression fittings on brake lines. Heck no, not doing it. You can take it somewhere else. I'm not doing anything that's a safety risk, right? I'm not doing anything that's going to get somebody hurt. But my point in saying all that is like, at the end of the day, if it's not a safety concern and Mr. Client asks for it, chances are I'll do it. Now, there's some caveats to that. I won't do things going to back me into a corner, okay? I won't do things that I know are going to result in this thing not running when I get done. Because I ain't trying to have these arguments. I ain't trying to have these fights. I ain't trying to get in these messes with people. I would rather just avoid the headache. I remember Dutch had a form that he gave to his clients. If the car came in, it was in bad shape, the very top in big bold letters, it said, this vehicle arrived at our facility in exceedingly poor condition. And it was a disclaimer they had to sign. I'm not trying to back myself into that corner because I don't need the stress. I don't need the drama. I don't need the BS that goes with it. I want to live a good life. I want to live a happy life. I want my team to live a good life. I want my team to live a happy life. And the stress that comes with problem vehicles and these space cases, I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the cars. I promise you won't ever make enough money to make it worth it. So to my friend, I wouldn't have taken it on without doing my own testing. As soon as I realized something was up, I would have called the other shop. If the other shop didn't offer to make it right, then I'd have no choice but to tell the client, hey man, I'm a little concerned this thing does not have a timing problem. Maybe they missed something in their testing. How would you like me to proceed? That's where I'm gonna go with it. I'm also not gonna price something I've not seen. I'm not going to start an estimate on a repair that I have not laid eyes and hands on, because you never know what kind of condition the vehicle you're getting into is in. So it's just my opinion. Y'all have a good one.